Welcome to the Taste Test channel, and this week we'll be taking an impartial look at popular Earl Grey teas from around the world to discover what the differences are and how some of the best-selling varieties around the globe differ in taste. As always, just for fun, we'll be awarding our Taste Test channel Best in Class award to the winner. If you're new to the channel, just hit the subscribe button to ensure you don't miss out on any of our regular taste tests. So whether you're an Earl Grey drinker or not, this week we thought it would be really interesting to discover just how much the same blend of tea varies in taste across some of the world's most popular brands. Earl Grey is one of the most recognised blends of tea in the world, with its delicate, fresh and highly aromatic quality. It's a black tea, often using Ceylon, and its distinctive floral citrus flavour comes from the addition of oil of bergamot, a bitter, yellow-green coloured orange, mostly grown in Italy. The name Earl Grey comes from British Prime Minister and Earl Charles Grey, who in the 1830s asked a local tea company to replicate a blend he'd been presented with by a Chinese mandarin. Stories about the origin or reason for the gift vary considerably, but nevertheless a replica tea was created which became a hallmark for the future Earl Grey tea. Final flavour, however, can vary significantly, depending on the type of leaves used, how they're prepared and the proportion and quality of bergamot added, so I'm really curious to see just how much our top 6 vary. For this test, we've chosen tea bags rather than loose leaf, simply because it's the way the majority of people now buy their tea. So our lineup of popular Earl Grey teas from around the world this week is as follows. The original creators of the first ever Earl Grey blend, Twinings. America's #1 specialty tea company, Bigelow. Luxury tea purveyors for over 300 years, Fortnum and Mason. One of the biggest names in tea worldwide, Tetley. Another of the world's tea giants, Lipton. And finally, Sri Lankan single origin tea specialists, Dilmah. Price-wise, these cover quite a range, although the cost to get hold of them may of course differ depending on where you're based. The amount in each box varies, so you can see the price that I paid per tea bag is shown below. As you can see, Bigelow has the highest cost, followed by Fortnum and Mason, with Lipton and Dilmah falling somewhere in the middle, and Tetley being the least expensive of all, followed by Twinings. Nutritional wise, our normal fat, sugar, salt and energy content analysis is obviously not going to be applicable to tea, which happily contains none of them. But for those who are interested, like other black teas, the average serving of Earl Grey contains about 47 milligrams of caffeine, about half as much as a cup of coffee, but this can vary greatly depending on the tea leaves used, brewing times and even water temperature. But how will all of these differ in taste? Well, that's why we're here. So we're going to start with Twinings, who began in England, and this is in fact the very company who created that original Earl Grey in 1831 at the Prime Minister's request. Brits are known to be a nation of tea drinkers, and Twinings also played a pivotal role in making that happen. In 1706, Thomas Twining, the son of a weaver, bought a coffee shop in the Strand, an area newly populated by London's aristocracy. With a recently acquired knowledge of tea buying, unlike other coffee houses of the day, Thomas made tea his primary focus, both in wet and dry form. This attracted London's elite, and he built a reputation for the finest teas that fashionable ladies of the day eagerly served in their drawing rooms. His passion turned a little-known drink into the nation's favourite hot beverage, and Twinings is now sold worldwide. So with that provenance, it seems like a great place to start. So what we're going to do is open all 6 boxes first so we can compare the tea bags visually side by side, and then we'll move on to the tasting. So we'll open up the pack, cut open the main foil wrapper, and let's take out a bag. So they're a standard square shape. There's a powerful aroma dominated by high notes of lemony citrus. I'm getting black tea with hints of cracked pepper and a suggestion of lavender, but the zinginess is so concentrated I have to say it almost smells a bit like a lemon cleaning product. Nevertheless, I'll look forward to tasting it after we've opened the others. Next we have Bigelow, America's #1 specialty tea company. In 1945, Ruth Campbell Bigelow, dissatisfied with the tea available at the time, blended black leaves with orange rind and spices in her kitchen in New York, creating the first cup of specialty tea in the country. Her friends made so many positive comments that she started selling it to local stores, naming her first blend Constant Comment, and with great effort, including hand-painting the design on every box, the Bigelow Tea Company was born. Today, Bigelow is still family-run and can be found in almost every supermarket in the US. Their Earl Grey is created from hand-picked leaves with Italian oil of bergamot. So we'll take a look inside. So these are individually foil wrapped. And then we have a folded bag with tag and string. The aroma is extremely pungent, even stronger than the Twinings, but very different. It smells like a fragrant bag of lavender potpourri, like a dried posy. Then I'm getting black tea in the background, and finally much fainter citrus notes. Very interesting and very different. Next we have Earl Grey Classic from Fortnum & Mason department store in Piccadilly, London. Fortnum & Mason were founded over 300 years ago and are world renowned for high quality, speciality and exotic foods. Of particular repute is their famous tea department, which houses hundreds of unique and rare teas and even has a bespoke blending service where you can devise your own creation. Their Earl Grey Classic has long been a favourite, created in the 1920s, so I'm keen to see how this esteemed brand compares. And for a few pound more, it came in this rather nice presentation tin. So let's open it up. So separate wrappers again. And then the folded bag format. The aroma is much more subtle and less pungent on this one, but there's lots going on. There's black tea firstly, then pleasant tangs of citrus, and then equally fragrant lavender notes. The combination is a very nice, soft, rounded smell. There's a warmth to it. It's subtle, but floral. Next we have Tetley, one of the largest selling tea companies in the world. In 1822, two English brothers selling salt from a packhorse in Yorkshire started trying to sell tea. It was so successful that Joseph Tetley & Co. Tea Merchants was later established and the business went from strength to strength. Tetley was also the first in the UK to sell tea bags, an idea borrowed from the Americans, and they also launched their round-shaped tea bag in 1989. Today, Tetley is owned by Indian tea giant Tata Group, the second largest tea manufacturer. Their Earl Grey is made from a mix of black teas from around the world with bergamot flavouring. So we'll take a look inside. The box itself was seal wrapped, by the way, which we removed for filming, but the tea bags are loose inside. So we have Tetley's classic round bag shape, but almost no aroma on this one. With persistence, I'm getting fresh grass, which is not unpleasant, but there's nothing else in the smell to suggest it's Earl Grey. Next we have Lipton, a giant name in tea, sold in 150 countries. Thomas Lipton started the business in Scotland in 1871, using his savings to open a shop, which was so successful that within 20 years there were 200 Lipton stores. Thomas toured the world for new items to stock and in 1890 purchased gardens in Ceylon and began selling the very first Lipton tea. Tea was a luxury at the time, but Thomas arranged low-cost shipping and various pack sizes, and it quickly became popular in both the UK and US. Their grocery stores rebranded to Prestos in the 1980s, but Lipton now only sells tea and is owned by multinational company Unilever. So we'll open the box. So individually packaged, and again a folded style bag. The aroma here is mostly black tea with some high zingy notes in the background. It's less pungent than the Twinings, but there's an astringency that I'm not warming to, and there's none of the fragrant floral notes on this one. Finally, we have Dilmah, a Sri Lankan brand of tea sold internationally. The company was founded in 1988 by a man who claims to be both the world's most experienced tea maker and the pioneer of single origin tea, in other words unblended and from a single source. Dilmah also purport to be the only global brand to be packed fresh right where the tea is grown, and profits are shared locally via various foundations. The business is family run and their Earl Grey combines hand-picked single origin Ceylon tea infused with bergamot. So we'll open the pack. And remove the wrapper. So this has a grassy aroma, but it's much more earthy and leafy than the fresh cut grass we got from the Tetley. The dominant scent is simply black tea. There's no citrus or floral notes at this stage. Okay, so we have all our tea bags now at the ready, so we'll pop them in the cups. And I think it's time we made some tea. So we've got a cup of Twinings, Bigelow, Fortnum & Mason, Tetley, Lipton and Dilmah. All of these have been brewed for exactly the same time, just under 3 minutes, and at the moment there's very little variation visually. Now you can drink Earl Grey black or with lemon, but it's also very nice white. In the background I'm going to be trying all 6 of these both ways to ensure a thorough test, but for now let's add some milk and see what difference that makes. So I can now detect some subtle differences in colour. Twinings is certainly the darkest, followed by Tetley, then Dilmah, and the other 3 are pretty much identical. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a cup of tea. So let's move on to the tasting. So we're going to start off with Twinings. So this has an intense flavour of high lemon notes, not quite as chemical as in the aroma. There's a grassiness to it and a very strong leafy aftertaste. In fact, I found it went to my stomach the more I drank it. Overall, I'm sorry to say I'm not keen on this one, it's just too over the top, but that could just be me. Next we'll try Bigelow. So again, a powerful flavour, even stronger than Twinings in fact, but this has warm orange notes combined with fragrant lavender and dried flowers. There's a very long dry aftertaste. It leaves your mouth feeling a bit stripped, like when you've eaten walnuts, with a strong lasting flavour. In summary, this is not subtle, it packs a real punch, but it's rich, pleasant and unmistakably good quality. Next is Fortnum and Mason. Okay, so this is much more subtle. It's not grassy or intensely lemon, but it's still full of flavour. There's delicate notes of citrus and gently floral tea with a very refreshing finish. In summary, this to me is exactly what a good Earl Grey should taste like. The complex high notes are balanced and rounded with a clean, soft finish. You could drink it all afternoon with jam and scones. Perfect. Next we'll try Tetley. So this one is also very subtle, but you wouldn't know it's Earl Grey. It tastes like a weak black tea. The bergamot is almost undetectable, there's just the faintest hint of citrus in the background. Having said that, it's very smooth and drinkable with a nice clean aftertaste. In summary, this is a pleasant, gentle and rounded tea. It just doesn't quite seem like an Earl Grey. Next is Lipton. Okay, so the astringency that was in the aroma is absent in the drinking, so it definitely tastes much better than it smells. The dominant flavour is black tea, with just a faint touch of high notes, a hint of smokiness and a dry finish. There's a bit of that stripped mouth feeling again, but it's not heavy or leafy. In summary, this has a simple but full flavour. It's not overtly Earl Grey, but it's perfectly pleasant and drinkable. Finally, we'll try Dilmah. So there's high citrus notes in the flavour, but it also has an earthy quality to it and a slight currantiness. The finish is more like a fruit tea. It's got a herbal quality to it. It's not your typical mild zingy taste, but it's rich, complex and pleasant, with an Earl Grey twang and depth of flavour. So that covers how they all differ in taste, and now that we've tasted them all, as always, just for fun, we award our Taste Test Channel winners and Best in Class award. This week, choosing first place was very easy. It was the other rankings that were much harder to choose between, and as always, it really does come down to personal taste. If, for example, you're looking for a mellow, refreshing blend with just the faintest essence of Earl Grey, then Tetley would be ideal. If you're after a richer flavour with a bit more twang and a drier finish, then Lipton is a great option. Or for an intense lemony Earl Grey that's turned up to 11, then Twinings would be the one to choose. But our top 3 winners this week are as follows. Winning third place, Dilmah. With citrus high notes, rich fruity undertones and depth of flavour, it's unique and enjoyable. Winning second place, Bigelow. This packs a high quality punch. It's bursting with bergamot amidst fragrant dried flowers, and with a very dry finish, it's invigorating and memorable. But in first place this week in the popular Earl Grey teas from around the world, the Taste Test Channel Best in Class award goes to Fortnum and Mason. An exceptional Earl Grey which masters subtlety with complexity. It's smooth, infinitely drinkable and absolutely top notch. So well done to Fortnum and Mason. And as always, taste is subjective and this is purely my point of view, but I hope this has provided some useful insights. So I've certainly enjoyed making this episode. I really hope you've enjoyed watching it. And if you have, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell to ensure you don't miss out on any of our regular taste tests. Also, it really helps us if you hit the thumbs up button, and please do consider sharing it with others. And a huge thank you from me to everyone who supports our new and growing channel. Every thumbs up and subscriber really does make a difference. We're not sponsored, so to the handful of particularly generous viewers who support us via Patreon, we are eternally grateful. Meanwhile, thanks for watching and TTFN.